Yeah. Woke up with a vision, it's Professor Bear's day. Ruling the game, coming hard, paving his way. Thoughtful and smart, yeah, the wisdom of man. In a world full of shadows, he's breaking the cap. Lighting up knowledge, hear the people cheer. With every step forward, he's shifting the gears. Professor Bear, yeah, he's claiming the state. With the power of wisdom, watch the ground shake. No mountain too high, no challenge too tough. When you roll with the bear, you know it's
beginnings on the cusp. Not too old to adjust. Old dog, new tricks. Remember, I was just a pup. Something dirty in my cup. Clean soul, good car.
Wrestling Society Network. History, heart, and two paws up, baby. This is A Bear's Thoughts, breaking down the legends, the stories that shaped the squared circle. Professor Bear, old school wrestling, like you ain't never heard it before. Hosted by the man with more knowledge than steel cages got steel. Only on the Wrestling Society Network.
Welcome, and thank you for joining me today. I am Professor Bear, and this is A Bear's Thoughts. And today, we are being sponsored by two great products that I definitely recommend to any wrestling fan. So, the first one is Tag Team Toys and Collectibles. Now, as a kid, I was a big wrestling fan, even back then, and my father was too. And because I was the baby and the spoiled one of my family, I pretty much got what I wanted. So I got a toy wrestling ring and had a bunch of different figures. And at one point, I was so caught up into it, I made my own promotion, had title matches, everything. So I was just really into it. So then after that, I got a little bit older, I got a job. And wouldn't you know, I got a job at Toys R Us. Now, for you all that don't know what Toys R Us is, go look it up. I promise you, you will enjoy it. Now, after started working for Toys R Us, my love for wrestling didn't die at all. So, man, I'm seeing all the figures, I'm grabbing them. Oh, they're going to be collectibles. So once I did that, got older, with family and stuff, you have more priorities. So recently I decided, I'm going to go and clean out my garage. And lo and behold, I found those wrestling figures. Man, I had the original first lineup of ECW figures. And I thought to myself, yes, I'm going to hang on a little longer. Then I thought, in this day and age, man, I could really use that money. So, but I'm lazy and I'm not about to go online to be trying to sell figures. I'm not. So lo and behold, I found the perfect place for me. And this is in East Tennessee. Tag Team Toys and Collectibles. Man, they have all the different types of wrestling figures, accessories, rings, championship belts. You name it, they have it. They even have VCR tapes. For you all who are this young that don't know what a VCR is, if you go back to the my intro, you saw a VCR. So then man, like I said, they are just a great place where you can go and live your dream as a kid again with all these wrestling memorabilia. That is Tag Team Toys and Collectible. And you go on Facebook, man, you can find them and you never know what they'll do for you. Now, my second sponsor is Chops Trading Cards and Print on Demands. Again, as a kid, I collected everything. Matter of fact, here is my, these are WCW figures, trading cards, not figures, trading cards from the early 90s. So
Wow.
you know I still have them.
Wow.
But so as a kid, I'm like, one day I'm gonna work my way up so I have my own trading cards. But then I didn't realize, huh, you got to be athletic. That ain't me. You got to work hard. Yeah, that's not me. So I was gonna let that dream die until I found Chops Cards and Print on Demand. When I tell you they make some of the most professional looking trading cards, and you can have them personalized. Matter of fact, Professor Barry is working on his own trading cards. I am getting 18
Wow.
trading cards personalized for only $50. I mean, how can you beat that? Unless you use Professor Barry's code, which is Bear15, and you'll get 15% off your entire order. So, man, you can live out the dream like Professor Bear and have your own personal trading cards. So, this is for any wrestling fans, promoters. You can have trading cards for your wrestlers, just anyone. And don't forget, that's Chops, Cards, and Print on Demand. Your number one for independent trading cards. Now, after all of that, everybody that I get to come on my show are very special to me. And this young lady, I'm trying to get out there and do different social media. And I saw this young lady's stuff on TikTok. And when I tell you I fell out laughing and enjoying it, it was so amazing. Amazing stuff. So I said to myself, I had to have her on the show.
Oh, thank you.
And to just understand, us as wrestling fans, we can do so much for promoting wrestling or just having fun with it. And this young lady, she did.
Thank you.
Let me introduce to you, Kara. Kara, how are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. It is such an honor to be here. I was blown away that you invited me to be on your show because this has just been in the works for just a few years. And I never dreamed that it would get to this point, that this many people would reach out to me and express their love for these old promos. And I'm very excited to tell my story and to talk about Tea With Me, my show.
Well, let's start from the beginning. I ask all of my guests this question. How did you begin loving wrestling?
Well, I'm glad you asked that because as I listened to you tell your story, it very much lined up with mine. As a child growing up in the 80s, I loved wrestling, but I particularly loved the promos with these larger than life characters. You had the Macho Man, you had Ric Flair, you had Dusty Rhodes, you had Sting, you had all of these, and just this wild array of personalities. And my brother and I would consume this, but we grew up during the territory days. And we only got AWA. So we grew up with Nick Bockwinkel. with, the helmet hair, the beautiful hair. And it was the thing that I loved the most were these announcers with their, the little pinstripe suits on and the little ties and everything. And just like you, life happened. I got married, I had children, I got a job, all the things of raising a family, and wrestling kind of passed away into memories. And then my children grew, they're adults now, and I started revisiting wrestling. And the first place I went was Memphis Wrestling. And I took notes and I thought, this is the most wonderful thing I've ever seen in my life. And the thing that I loved the most was Lance Russell, because he was the star without it seeming like he was the star. And he had on this little suit, and then you had Dave Brown, with, the silver hair, and then it came on and you had this big yellow font that said wrestling across it, and this little cast iron figure that twirled around. And I just thought, this is my jam. This is what has been missing from my life. So I just absorbed myself into Memphis Wrestling. And again, this cast of characters, you had Jerry the King Lawler, the superstar. You had Tojo Yamamoto. But my favorite one was the Fabulous Ones, doing Billy Squire's Everybody Wants You. The Fabulous Ones sitting on a hay bale. The Fabulous Ones in a tuxedo. The Fabulous Ones in a hot tub. I thought, this is it. This is it. I loved it. So every evening I would watch Memphis Wrestling. And then I became aware of, oh yeah, the territories. So then I wanted to invest into more territories. And Professor Bear, I felt like such a traitor, because I left Memphis Wrestling and I went to Mid-Atlantic to consume Mid-Atlantic. And I thought, I cannot leave. I felt like a traitor for leaving Memphis Wrestling. But the first thing I did was I watched it, and this music came on. Da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. It was this disco jam. Da-da-da-da. And I thought, that's it. That's my jam. And Bob Caudle came on, and you couldn't hear him because it was low budget, it was the 80s. So you couldn't hear him, and he was talking. And I thought, this is the cutest thing in the world, just the cutest thing. And then Joe LeDuc came on, and I thought, oh, I know him from Memphis Wrestling. And I just felt this heartwarming sensation, like, oh, one of my little Memphis Wrestling guys is on there, and just all of it. And I just went from and then I went back to AWA, and then I went to Mid-South and Georgia Championship. And then I read a book about all these territories. So then I got this idea. And I noticed when I watched these crowds, there were these little old ladies. There were a lot of children too. But there were these little old ladies, and I thought, what if these little old ladies are sitting in a tea room discussing going to these matches, what happened while they're at the match, and they're all falling in love with these wrestlers, and they've all, they're all just dying in love with them, or they're incorporating their personal life. What if we incorporated that with the old wrestling promos? So I devised this show called Tea with Me, Tea and Conversations with Your Favorite Old School Wrestlers, where I'm combining the two things in life that I love the most, which is having tea in the tea room with my girlfriends and wrestling, because why not? So I started asking some of my friends, and amazingly, they're like, yeah. So I started asking people, would you portray Rowdy Roddy Piper? Would you portray Bret the Hitman Hart? And they were like, yeah. And so I asked a little girl at church, I said, would you be my tea table partner? And her name is Georgette. And Georgette is madly in love with Ric Flair. And I'm being very self-righteous and judgmental of her because she has this histrionic personality disorder, and she's just she can't stand it. And then we flip to the old promos, word for word, and I type it into a teleprompter, and we recreate these old wrestling promos. So it's my show, but I'm discussing all of this with my girlfriends. And so I interview Ric Flair, and then I just fall apart because I just can't stand it. He's so beautiful. And then sometimes I incorporate a little skit with my mother, and my mother's very disapproving of me because I'm interviewing these wrestlers, because she wanted me to invest my career into turf grass science. And she doesn't want me to do this wrestling show. And there's a lot of art imitating real life there. Let me tell you. You know, mother's disapproval. It's crazy. It's crazy. I know. And then I had some actual wrestlers come and say, yeah, I'll be a part of this. Roberto De Luna of Berto and Hippo, the amazing AJ Kazana, an NWA star, Marvelous Marcus Johnson, Calamity Jane, Mike Ramondi, of the Dusty Tribute in New York City. I went up there in September, and he's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, now this is what I'm doing. I'm doing this weird thing. And they're like, yeah. And I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it. 3 years ago, I went to my very first wrestling match, local wrestling match.
Wow.
And I felt like I had died and gone to heaven. I thought, these are my people. And I found a community that I had always needed, but I never knew that I needed it. And it has been the most wonderful experience connecting with people like you and people within the wrestling world. They're all just wonderful human beings. They've been all so gracious to me, and they're non-judgmental, and they're fun, and they're free. And it's just been a wonderful, wonderful ride. And that's pretty much my story of how Tea With Me came to pass. And it just seems to grow. I've got more ideas. So, you know, we're coming along. And that's the story of me and Tea With Me. And I was so happy to hear you talk about your experience, because it very much lined up with mine. Just the growing up with wrestling, and the first WrestleMania with Cyndi Lauper and Captain Lou Albano. I mean, that was just all larger than life. So
It is so funny. Like you said, we have similar backgrounds. I'm like I said earlier, my first wrestling ring was not WWF at the time. My first wrestling ring was AWA.
there you go.
Matter of fact, Ric Flair.
I said,
That
what?
is the AWA Ric Flair figure. My buddy Joe Monroe got this for me. We went to do a what is it called? A little signing. And we were out and just sitting there. And luckily enough, we sat right next to Coco Beware. So
Coco Beware.
Got a chance to talk to him. He's from the same town as my wife. So he knew some people. It was so amazing. And like you said, the wrestlers, I have not, knock on wood, have not ran across a wrestler who was not just really super nice.
Yes.
And
just
it's
wonderful
so
people.
amazing how much we have in common with them. They're just people, but we see them larger than life.
Right.
It
And
is so it is so funny. I just saw AJ Sunday, and he's my buddy. Every time he sees me, the second time I seen him wrestle, I happened to be in Kentucky. Him and his brother was wrestling. He
mhm.
spotted me in the crowd. He took off his tape, balled it up, and threw it at me to get heat, and people lost their minds. And my buddy, he's an ex wrestler. He said, "Yeah, he threw it at you on purpose." I'm like, "He didn't know you." He said, "Yeah, he did." So afterwards, he was setting up his merchandise stand. We walk over. He's like, "Yeah, I knew you." He's like, "It's hard not to spot you." So
The Kazanas are beautiful and wonderful human beings. Check out AJ Kazana in my episode Stand By Me, where he plays Stan Hansen.
and I have to say, he does a wonderful job of being Stan.
Knocked it out of the ballpark. One take, bam. And if you allow me, I would like to tell the story about that.
Yes.
My friend Superfly Johnny Lee, I asked him, I said, see, and I just kind of said this as a one-off. See if you could get AJ Kazana to be Stan Hansen. And he called me back and he said, yes, he'll do it. I said, no way. I said, there is no way that an NWA star will be on my strange, kooky little show. But he did it. And we did it in one take and he nailed it. I mean, they're wonderful. The wrestling world is a wonderful, wonderful world. And they're beautiful humans.
Yes, they are. And the thing that really got me is when I watched it, I actually submerged. I could see that. I went back in time, and it was just so. And like you said, everybody was hitting their high points. Oh, just beautiful. It was like, wow, this is amazing.
Those old promos, there was something really special about them. There's just, and I don't know a whole lot about what's going on currently. I know a little, but the old stuff is my heart. It just totally is my heart. Now, there was a lot of things they said then. There's no way you can do it now. I mean, there's just no way. I mean, there was a lot of wild. They were wild, but nonetheless, just the whole territory days and what they did back then, it was super, super special. And that's my desire, is to bring back all of those old promos, but with this strange little backstory of all these little old ladies that were at the ring, and they're just salivating over them. They just can't stand it. They're so cute.
I enjoy it. They put on such an amazing job. The whole concept is just so out of right field, but it's amazing.
Well, thank you.
And that's why I was like, how in the world did you come up with this concept?
Because I'm weird like that. It's a weird world in here, I'll tell you.
But I think for us wrestling fans that grew up with the 80s, 90s wrestling, it was something special because you had to be able to talk people into the building. You had to be able to get interest because you only had so much. It's not like today where you can watch anything, anytime, anywhere.
Exactly.
You had to. It was one at a certain time.
At this time, you have to be watch this thing, or it's gone.
Exactly. And the amazing thing for me, seeing all this older stuff and hearing people talk about it, I'm like, yeah, I was there. Or, hey, yeah, I got it on VCR tape. I still have it. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like I just watched again where Dusty Rhodes got jumped by the Horseman and they broke his arm. As a kid, seeing that, I was like, oh, what? Where's the cops? Call the police. I was
Right.
so invested in it. And
Right.
and on top of that, when you see like my father, he was invested. So to see my father have emotions that I've never seen, like I literally one of the first times I remember seeing my dad cry was at a wrestling match. And I thought to myself, oh my God, you made my dad cry. Everybody needs to jump in the ring and fight now.
Right. Um, it brings, the good versus the evil. You have those two, the heel and the face, colliding with each other. And it's stress relief for me anyway. It's like total stress relief. When I go to these matches, it's like, okay, everything's going to be okay now. Watching two people pound it out is like, everything's going to be fine.
It takes you to a whole nother world where in that 2, 3, 4 hours, however long, you do not have to worry about anything.
You don't have to worry about anything at all. Just who's smashing it out with one another. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing, you all. It's a
So
beautiful thing.
I have the yeah, David and Goliath. That's perfect way of putting it. So if you had your choice of wrestlers that you could actually bring back, who would you bring back to interview and why?
Oh, Macho Man, 100%. The Macho Man. There's just no one else that could do a promo like him. I mean, who turns their back to a camera and can still capture an audience? Who can
True.
flick those little creamers around and still, and come in and say nothing means nothing, and then go on and say something completely different? I mean, really, he would literally turn his back to the camera and keep talking, and he still had your attention.
Oh yeah, brother. You have to do it like this
Yep.
because the Macho Man is all over the place. Dig it?
Yes. There's no one else like him. There never has been, there never will be. Now, that's hard for me to say because I've got 5 that I think are just top tier.
Okay, let's hear him.
Okay, well, number 1 would be Macho Man. Now, number 2 is somebody that a lot of people are probably not familiar with, but it's the exotic Adrian Street.
Oh my! Oh, Adrian Street was way before his time.
Way before his time.
If he was here at his peak, he would be number 1 and number 2 personality in the business. Period.
Yes. With Miss Linda, and then he come out in kind of this S&M type garb, and I'm looking. There's like children sitting at the end, and all like it's crazy. But I love him. I absolutely loved him, and I read the story about him and how his father was a coal miner, and I just really think he was a very, very special talent.
Yes, he was. I agree with you, and very underrated.
Very underrated. His wrestling was top notch.
Yes.
Number 3 would be Dusty Rhodes. Of all of the promos that have ever been done, Hard Times is by far the greatest, and I don't know that it would ever be topped. And here's a plug for my show. Please watch my episode Dream On, starring Mike Raimondi as Dusty Rhodes. So the premise of that show is my girlfriend Georgette has gone to the hairdresser and she's got little curlers in her hair. And I asked her why she hasn't gotten her hair done the right way. And she says, because she's gone to all the Starcade matches and she spent all her money. And then I say, well, why haven't you asked your boyfriend, Ric Flair, to help you out? And she said, he's too busy partying with the horse.
Wow.
And then I say, well, that's because he doesn't understand hard times. There's only one that understands hard times. And then we segue into the old Hard Times promo. But it's called Dream On, starring Mike Raimondi.
He did such an amazing job.
He is.
Even to this day, I find myself I could be watching any wrestling, and in the back of my mind, I think, baby, put your hands out there so you could touch mine and you could feel it, baby.
Yeah.
And so
it.
many. The thing that I really love about Dusty Rhodes, to this day, he's touched so many different wrestlers, even currently. And I just learned this, was it last night or 2 nights ago? I did not realize Dusty Rhodes gave Seth Rollins his name.
What?
I know. And Seth was telling the story how he owns Tyler Black. That was the name he wrestled under before WWE. And they wanted him to come with a new name. And he said he thought of the Seth name for something. And he said Dusty was sitting there with him. He said, baby, you need 2 first names. Nobody got it like that, baby. So you're going to be Seth Rollins. That's your name, baby. And
Amazing.
It was Dusty who came up with his name.
Wow. I'm going to put that in my notes. Because you're the professor, so I'm going to put that in my notes. Seth Rollins.
And during the interview, you could tell that it meant so much to Seth. And I love the fact that a lot of wrestlers still pay homage to Dusty for what they've done. Bailey talks about him. Roman talks about him. Just a lot of modern wrestlers still thank him for what he's done for the business.
One of a kind. Yeah. And he was one that didn't have the glossy body. I mean, he just looked like an average guy. And yet, when he was in the ring, he was like a ballerina. The way he would maneuver around that ring, he just looked beautiful. Beautiful.
So Dusty's number 3. Who's number 4?
Number 4 would be Roddy Piper. And as a kid, I hated him. Oh, I hated him. I mean, when he came on, my blood would just boil. And then I heard a story about his life. And I thought, this is an amazing human being. And I started watching his promos as an adult, and I'm sure that you've experienced this too. Watching it as an adult is very different sensation as than watching it as a kid.
Definitely, because we understand more of what they're saying in the context that they're saying it in.
Right. And I thought he was a true hero. And yeah, number 4 was Roddy Piper. And then number 5 is Bret the Hitman Hart. I'll tell you, that Montreal screw job, that's what did it for me. Wowza. I mean, wowza. Yeah. So those are my 5. And I mean, there's others, but those are my 5, the old school wrestlers that, to me, I think are just primo. top 10.
I have to admit, I'm surprised you did not have Ric Flair in that.
I actually met Ric Flair at a Comic-Con. He was super sweet and kind to me. I really liked him. Um, and of course he's amazing, but I don't know. I kind of always like the ones that aren't, as popular maybe. I do like Ric Flair immensely, but those are my five.
And that's so great. Every wrestling fan has their who put them on or their greatest and stuff. I always thought I was weird. Well, not weird. I just thought you could tell I was raised in the South because where everybody else loved Hulk Hogan, I could not stand Hogan. And the reason being, he didn't. I was like, he didn't wrestle. Rick will wrestle, just destroy him. But and even to this day, God bless his soul, he passed away. I still wasn't a Hogan fan. Now I appreciate what he's done in the business.
Right.
I appreciate where he and I tell anyone, if it wasn't for Hogan, we wouldn't be where wrestling is today. Hogan helped elevate it to the next level, and I really didn't see anybody else. I am weird, but that's beside the point. Uh, I don't see anyone that could have did the things that Hogan did.
Right. I'm with you on that. I mean, I understand completely what you're saying. Once I got done investing into the territories and I went to WWF and then WWE, the magic was kind of just gone for me a little bit. I kind of got too, I don't know, cartoony for my taste. It was the territories that I really, really loved. That was where my heart really was.
I agree with you 1,000%. And a lot of times, and I tell a lot of people this, not that we're necessarily right about the territory days, but it brings back special memories. And I think you can incorporate that with anything. Like I hear how people talk about music. Oh, music ain't the same, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, because it triggers a memory. Most times it's a good or great memory. That's why we have a tendency to be down on things because it doesn't trigger memories like
Right.
in our past.
Uh-huh.
But the thing is, what I love though, today's wrestling, you can still get everything that's going on today, but the indies are where you can go back in time. You still feel the electricity, and it's funny because anytime I go, I catch myself not necessarily watching the wrestling, but I start focusing on the fans.
And
Especially the little kids, because it's like, wow, you're getting a memory that's going to last you a lifetime.
It will last a lifetime.
It's like, oh, wow. I'm so glad. Sunday, I was at a wrestling show. Ricky Morton was there. And the heel got out the ring. He lost. And he stomping around. And he sat next to this little girl and little boy. And the little girl got scared and started crying. And I'm assuming it was her brother. He put his arms around her and pulled her close. And then the wrestler got up and left. And he grabbed her hand and they walked. I think they walked to the concession stand or something. But it was like that. I love that. I was like, that made the whole wrestling experience for me that much better because it was so sweet. And I thought back, I remember when my dad took all of us to wrestling, and
right.
And
Yeah, it's a bonding experience.
yes, I always like to call it a family reunion because no matter if you don't know a person or not, you start bonding and talk.
Exactly.
I got a chance to talk to a gentleman. Me and him talked throughout the entire show. It was so great. And a lot of times I enjoy going and just being off and not near anybody, so my thoughts can run. But he was talking, and we got to talking about old school wrestling and what wrestling means to us today. And we see, so hey, you see, he did that. It made it that much special. It was a great experience.
It was, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. That was my experience as a child growing up in the 80s and watching all of that. And um, the wrestling community is the best community. It truly, truly is. And it's a family. It really is a family. I feel very blessed to have met so many wonderful people, people such as yourself, and it's a true joy. It really, really is. Um, so I really have I can't believe that my weird idea has already touched so many people. But it is my goal to continue to recreate a lot of these old promos, um, with this really strange, weird backstory, to incorporate into it.
And another thing that I think about your stories and stuff, it's easy to plug it in naturally. You can, it's like you could feel that you're there, that you could see this live in real time. I, here I live in Knoxville, Tennessee, and I never will forget this older woman. She had to be in her 70s or 80s. She would be, she's always ringside. She had her cane. She was swinging it at people. One of the best ones that I've seen was her and Hulk Hogan. Hogan was sitting there. She did this. Hogan got a little closer. She stopped, grabbed the cane, took a swing out. And again, it's just that the memories of us fans being so drawn in that we just either we love when we, and I tell a lot of people, if we dislike someone in wrestling, that means we really like them. They just drew us in so much that they can have us in our emotions. They got us.
Exactly. So, who are your top five?
Ooh, I always have problems with this because there's so many different people that I just love. But I can tell you one of the modern wrestlers who should have been back in the days because he has that same charisma, and that's Samoa Joe. He can talk, he is so eloquent when he wants to be. When he wants to be ruthless and mean, he can like that. And MJF knows how to push people's buttons. I've heard them call him the modern day Rowdy Piper, and and he is just amazing. Like, of course, Ric Flair for me, Dusty Rhodes. Um, I I tell you someone who I enjoyed when he was younger. When he got older and stuff, I kind of didn't like. But that's actually Jeff Jarrett in the Memphis area. When he was first coming up, Jeff had a charisma about himself that it was just amazing.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
and one of the things that I remember clearly is when him and Robert Fuller decided to be a tag team. And I was so shocked because Robert Fuller never gets cheered, but everybody was cheering him.
But it's a gift, isn't it? It's a
Yes,
gift.
it is.
It's a gift to be able to evoke those kinds of emotions from people. And it's a gift to be able to do those promos.
Oh, yes.
I mean, you really got to get into a different mindset to do it. It's a real talent.
I I believe that if you can do a promo and do it convincingly, you have such a head start on any other wrestlers, no matter despite their ability in the ring. If you can get people to start thinking, working their mind on what you said, how you said it,
Mm-hmm.
you're halfway there.
Yep, that's it. It's not just the wrestling part, it's getting into here and affecting and getting into here and affecting people. That is a real gift.
I I can't remember the wrestler's name, but I was at a wrestling show recently, and after the show, I generally hang around and talk to some of the wrestlers, seeing if I could get them on the podcast or whatever. Well, one of the wrestlers, he had came out during the match, and he was ringside, and he ended up sitting right beside me, and he said something. I can't remember exactly what he said, but he said something smart to me. I just kind of laughed it off, didn't think too much about it. Well, after the show was over and most of the fans cleared out, he came back over and he said, "Man, I was wanting to talk to you so bad." He's like, "But I didn't want to break character." So I, I just fell out laughing. And I think I gave him the best compliment I possibly could give him. I told him, I said, "Look, I know this is not real and everything." I said, "But you had me to the point where I wanted to punch you in the face." And he's like, "Really?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Oh man, that's the best compliment anybody."
And it is. That is a true compliment. If he evoked those kind of emotions from you, then he's doing his job.
Exactly.
He's
And
doing his job.
it was so funny to me. And like you said, the wrestling community, we're just different. So when I get to talk to different wrestlers and stuff, I have to tell myself, they're just like you. Calm down, calm down.
But when I go to those wrestling matches, I mean, it's like, I just ate a big turkey dinner. It's just like, I just, this sensation of relaxation just comes over me. Like, I just feel totally at peace. I totally feel at peace when I watch a wrestling match because it takes my mind away from all the other stuff in my life. All the other stuff is gone and I can just, enjoy and relax and watch these performers, athletes, wrestle. And it's just, I love it. I love it so much.
So, what new ideas, if you don't mind giving us a few spoilers,
I'm
what
glad
ideas?
you asked. Well, hopefully, I have someone on the line that I would like to play Ravishing Rick Rude. And it's going to be called A Rude Awakening. And it's going to revolve around the old story of Rick Rude and Cheryl Roberts and Jake the Snake Roberts.
Nice.
And
Nice.
what happened there? And
Oh, I'm looking forward to
in fact,
seeing it.
I shot the tea room scene today, and the little lady that was at the table with me, she said, "Guess what he did? I saw Rick Rude," and I say, "Really?" And she
Nice.
whispers in my ear about what actually happened there with those tights.
Oh, I love it. Love it.
And hopefully, I will be able to connect with someone who portrays the Iron Sheik. And if that one goes down, I would like to call it Le Fric, c'est chic.
I love it.
Here's my question, Professor Bear. Would you like to be on Tea with me?
I sure would. And actually, I tell you who I would love to play.
Okay.
I would love to play Thunderbolt Patterson.
I'm down for it all. I'm down for it all. You pick the promo, I'll type it into the teleprompter, and all you have to do is bring the energy. Thunderbolt,
I can handle that.
Thunderbolt Patterson, I'm in like Flynn. And then you can help me develop a tea room scene to go with it.
All right. That sounds amazing.
I'm willing to travel, whatever it takes. I'm down for it all. Because, really, these old promos need to be brought back to life. They really do. A lot of people don't know about all of these old promos. And if you'll allow me, I would like to give a shout out to my brother Greg Thornbury, who played Nick Bockwinkel. And the episode was called Your Mom's Favorite, Nick Bockwinkel. Because Nick Bockwinkel was so suave and debonair and refined. And my mother was so disappointed at the path my life had taken and that I was associating with these sweaty wrestlers. And I asked her who she would prefer I be with. And she says someone refined like Nick Brockwinkle. And then I tell her it's Nick Bockwinkel.
Love it. Love it.
And he also plays the part of Jim Cornette, and that episode is called Corny Composes.
Oh my
And
goodness.
that's the old Jim Cornette promo with the Rock and Roll Express. And he says that I think they were going to put him in a cage with Ronnie Garvin was going to lock him in a cage. And he started crying. And he said, I want to make a public plea to America because I'm a good person. And I bought a copy of We Are the World. I'll send you that one.
Okay. Oh my goodness.
I'll tell you what, it's all ruminating in my mind.
And again, that's what is so amazing about it, because I think, like you said, there are so many people that do not know these promos and stuff. And you put it out there in such a funny manner that
Thank you.
a lot of times, luckily for me, I know most of them. So I don't have to go and look them up. But if you don't, that's a good way of looking up stuff. Then you might even fall in love with the wrestling from that era.
And you need to fall in love with the wrestling of that era. Folks, if you don't know about the old wrestling promos, come to tea with me. We'll revisit it. If you do know about these promos, come to tea with me. Relive those experiences. If you like tea, come to tea with me. It's wacky, it's wild, it's fun.
That is the perfect promo for tea with you. I love it. Love it. Well, I again, I thank you so much.
Oh, I thank you. I mean, when I saw your message, I was like, no, there's no way. I've only been doing this a couple of years, just kind of on a whim, and wow, this amazing human being wants me to be on his show. I mean, I can't believe it.
Because you bring so much, you bring so much energy, and I I know that there are so many people that would love it if they knew about it. So I was like, let me bring you on and let you promote. The biggest thing about my podcast is you don't have to be a wrestler. You don't have to be necessarily in the wrestling business, but your love for wrestling, people need to hear that and understand that we all play a part in wrestling. Enjoy it, do these cool things, and have fun. That is the major thing. Have fun.
Have fun. Listen, life's already hard enough. We don't need anything else to stress us out. And that's why I developed Tea with Me, is to bring joy to people and to have fun and to keep things light, and also to relive all of these wonderful, wonderful promos of yesteryear with these amazing wrestlers and this talent. Some of them have been forgotten. We need to bring it back to life.
Amen. Amen. Thank you again so much. And you're definitely welcome to come back anytime.
Oh, thank you. Hey, I'm taking you up on this, Thunderbolt Patterson. We need to
Yes.
make a date now.
All right. We would definitely work on it. Guys, girls, thank you so much for
Thank you.
joining us today. We have had another blast on this interview. As I always love to say, support your local wrestling. You
Yes.
never know who you will see at your local event that in years in the future could be a mega star, and you can have the experience of seeing them before they start. Or even if you have nobody that becomes super popular in the major scenes, support them because they have love for the business and are helping us.
Yes.
So give back support. And I always say, especially now with WWE overpricing, you can take your whole family, get to meet wrestlers, get souvenirs, and
Yes.
still walk out with change.
Yes.
You will bring your kids, your significant other, memories that could last a
Yes.
lifetime.
That is so true. And honestly, I like the local promotions better than going to WWE. I really, truly do. It's like, home. I enjoy it more.
I do too. As I like to call it, I go to my family reunions. Guys, girls, thank you again.
Thank you, sir.
Please, please join us around the campfire as we're going to take a holiday break for everyone. Happy Merry Christmas,
Merry
Happy New
Christmas.
Year, have Happy Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate. I hope you have a tremendous one. And remember, please be kind to other people. There's
Yeah,
too much stuff going on in the world today. It costs you nothing to be kind.
that's
So
right.
I am Professor Burr. This is the Burr's Thought, and we will catch you around the campfire soon. Y'all have a great one.
Bye.